Okay, so here we are again. All right, now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so we need those, we need to know those ratios. Okay, here we go. I have drawn in this column here, they're all 45, 45, 90s. And I have given you one piece of the triangle, and we're going to find the other pieces, okay? Angles and sides. Okay, so if this is a 45, 45, 90, clearly that's my 90. These are both 45. So that's the easy part of it. We found the angles. Now, this leg over here is 5. So what would the other leg have to be? 5. What would the hypotenuse have to be? Remember, this is 1, 1, 1 square root of 2. So if this is 5, 5, 5 square roots of 2. Just like that. Okay, so knowing those ratios, I can slap those values down, be confident, and then that's it. Don't have to do Pythagorean theorem or anything. Okay, so now what if I gave you the hypotenuse? That's a little bit trickier. The hypotenuse is 8. Okay, well, here's our 90, 45, 45. I need to find the two legs. How can I go about doing that? Think back up here. What if you knew the hypotenuse? What would you do to the hypotenuse to get a leg? Okay, let me approach it this way. If I knew the leg, what did I do to get the hypotenuse? Multiplied it by square root of 2. So what's the opposite of that? What if I know the hypotenuse? How do I get the leg? Divide by square root of 2. Okay, so the leg will be the hypotenuse divided by square root of 2. The hypotenuse is square root of 2 times the leg. So it's just the opposite. Okay, so the leg will be 8 divided by square root of 2. Okay, well, I'm going to rationalize that. And I get 8 square root of 2 over square root of 4, which is 2. And that becomes 4 square root of 2. 4 square root 2, 4 square root 2. Any questions on that? Okay, so what if the hypotenuse is 1? Here's 90, here's 45, here's 45. I know that the legs have to be the same length, but how would I get the legs? Divide by square root of 2. So 1 divided by square root of 2. When I rationalize that, that gives me square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Any question on that? Okay. All right, so this one's a little trickier over here. All right, 30, 60, 90. Opposite the 30 is 1. The hypotenuse is twice the length. Opposite 60 is square root of 3 times the short leg. Really, that's 1 square root of 3. Okay, so can you tell that that should be the 90? Where do you think the 30 should be, on the bottom or at the top? At the top is the 30. And then 60 would have to go there. Okay, so I am giving you the short side, which is square, yes? This is not those same measurements. Now, opposite 30 is square root of 3. We're going to find the other two. So it's a sort of blown up triangle. It's bigger than that one. The measurements are. Okay? All right, so I'm saying in this triangle, opposite 30 is square root of 3. So that's the short side of this triangle. How do I find the hypotenuse? Look back up here. The short side is 1. The hypotenuse is double that. So if my short side is square root of 3, what's the hypotenuse? 2 square roots of 3. And then this side is the short side times the square root of 3. So what is square root of 3 times square root of 3? 3. So those are the measurements of that triangle. Okay, so I took short side times 2 to get the hypotenuse. And then I did short side times square root of 3 to get the medium side. All right, okay with what I did? Okay, here's another 30, 60, 90. Here's the 90. 30's up here, you can tell that angle's smaller. 60's down here, you can tell it's bigger. The hypotenuse is 1. Okay, so what if I know the hypotenuse? How would I find the short side? Divide it by 2. This is twice the short side, and I know the hypotenuse, then I divide it by 2 to find the short side. So what is half of 1? 1/2. Okay, if I know the short side, how do I find this one? I multiply it by square root of 3. What is 1/2 times square root of 3? Square root of 3 over 2. Okay, well this one's not very different. I've just rearranged it so that the 30 is here and the 60 is up there. But the hypotenuse is still 1. Okay, so that's the longest side of the hypotenuse. How do I find the one opposite 30? Divide it by 2. 1/2. How do I get the side opposite 60? I take the short side and I multiply by square root of 3. We already did that up here, right? So that means that this one is square root of 3 over 2. Okay, there was a lot of silence for that. Who has a question? Right, are you sure? We're about to use these wonky numbers. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to bring you is this. It's called the unit circle. Okay, and we are going to fill out everything on here. Oh my gosh, that's so much. Let me pause this. It'll save me a little bit of time. Okay, so we've got these little tiny circles. Those are degree marks. So you want your paper arranged so that the degree is kind of where it should be. Like I don't want it that way where the degree is under the blank. Okay, so make sure that your paper is turned this way. And we are going to write across the top of it, however plain or cute you want to write it, the unit circle. And it's not very cute. Yours probably will be cuter than mine. Okay, now the unit circle has a very specific definition. The unit circle means that it is centered at 0, 0, so centered at the origin, and it has a radius of 1. That's what unit circle means. It's a circle centered at the origin, radius of 1. Let me show you what I'm really talking about. Oh. Okay, here is a piece of graph paper. Let's start over. Y-axis, x-axis, and I have a circle that is centered here, and it has a radius of 1. That's a unit circle right there. Radius 1 at the origin. So clearly, I've blown this one up, right? But really, I mean, it could be 1 foot, it could be 1 mile per radius, whatever. But on this paper, that would be what a unit circle is, okay? And we're going to find all this good missing information on here. Okay, so with that in mind, the fact that this has radius 1, we're going to start out by filling in 4 ordered pairs. Okay, if this is radius 1 and this is the x-axis, what is this ordered pair? 1, 0. If this is radius 1 and this is the y-axis right here, what is this ordered pair at the top? 0, 1. Okay, over on the left, what do we find? Negative 1, 0. And at the bottom, 0, negative 1. Okay, we got 4 things filled out. Okay, does everyone see why I put those points? Because of the radius of 1. Okay, next thing I want to do is fill in the degree marks. Okay, so remember we start here, right, when we're rotating an angle. So this would be how many degrees right here? 0. And also, notice I have 2. What about when I get all the way back around? 360. So we're going to put 0 degrees, 360. Okay, so those are, what's that word meaning in the same location? Coterminal. Those are coterminal. Okay, let's go up here and do this easy one. How many degrees would this be? 90. Okay, come over here. What would this one be? 180. And down here at the bottom, 270. Okay. All right, so let's hit the ones that are halfway in the middle of the quadrant. If I'm halfway between 0 and 90, how many degrees have I rotated? 45. So make sure you're getting the one in the middle there. Okay, we're going to skip these 2. We'll come back. So I've got 45. Well, if I have 2 45s, that's 90. What if I have 3 45s? 135. Okay, plus 45 more puts me at 180. What if I add 45 more? 225. If I add 45, that puts me at 270. Add 45 again, 315. Make sure you're putting that one in the middle. And then plus 45 puts me at 360. Okay, so we filled in all the increments of 45. Now, every other angle that's on here is an increment of 30 degrees. Let me restart this. We're down to 30 seconds. No, not quite, but almost.